Good evening. Welcome to Environmental Coffee House. We got a good show tonight. Of course, I have a good show tonight. We're going to talk about all these protests. People are going to join us. All right. So there's been a lot going on. I have gone to these protests. Tomorrow is another one. It's not the same one I was talking about. The Canadian protest at the Peace Bridge is not happening. Nate McMurray postponed it or canceled it for now. But we're going to learn about the 50501 movement. We're going to talk about that. And as you see behind me, I made videos of, I took a bunch and spliced them all together from all over the country. And so it's pretty cool. I wanted to have that background. But I'm going to start out with an article. And it's all about this 50501. But then we're going to get into really what is it? You know, how did it start besides just the Rolling Stone article? There's a lot of stuff on Reddit. And I want to talk about the drama because it happens with everything. How many things we've seen? Black Lives Matters, Occupy, the Occupy movement. Everything seems to get infiltrated or they fall apart, whatever happens. But that's why I want to look at this tonight, because this is the most important time of our lives, regardless of what the big picture is, regardless that we're at 430 something in parts per million in carbon, and that we are headed to a 1.5 C in our global temperature of the earth. I mean, all of those things are happening. And 50-50 is 50 states, 50 capitals, one day. And it happened, and now it's going to keep happening every Saturday. But yesterday, again, I was telling you it was supposed to be the Canadian protest. And I was really actually looking forward to that. So now there's something else going to happen. I'm going to say hi, Kim. Thank you for moderating. Hi, B or Barry Raffiani. Hi, Moon Man and Wanda. Good. It's good to see all of you here. And I don't see any new chats. So we're going to get started because usually people are used to me having a long intro, but I didn't. So I didn't. I'm going to start. So here we go. And I'm not going to, I think I'm going to just keep it on here. And I'm not going to make the screen super big, but I do want to read this article so we can get this feeling of understanding what this is. Okay, so I'm now littler. And I'm going to take this off and I'm going to put this on. No, not this one. See, I'm trying something different, but I don't want to do that. Just hang on. I have to put up the article so you can see it. And if you're going to see it, it's in a little screecher. That's where we go. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to read it. You don't have to look at it. You're going to listen to me. But we're going to learn about what this is, and then you can watch the video close up while I'm reading it. So this is from Rolling Stone, and it's about how a Reddit meme, and that's what we're going to go into, Reddit tonight, how the Reddit meme birthed a nationwide anti-Trump movement. 50501 is a new activist coalition that's inspiring millions to take to the streets to fight fascism, although you wouldn't know that by the mainstream media or especially Fox or the right wing or the Daily Wire. I had a clip and I didn't clip it up to show you of Matt Walsh on the Daily Wire. I might pull it up, but Here we go. So when 5 million demonstrators. See, and that's what I call it. It sounds like an old-fashioned term, protesting, but that's what we were doing, demonstrating. Flooded the streets for the national hands-off protests on April 5th, demonstrating against the unconstitutional actions and authoritarian aims of the Trump administration. A large fraction were mobilized by a leaderless grassroots collective that didn't even exist at the start of 2025. It's hard to speak of 50501, pronounced 5051 like a normal activist organization. That's because it's more like a meme that morphed into a movement. And while 5051 may be the upstart on the block, its first steps resemble those of a juggernaut. The coming out party for 50501 was a national anti-Trump rally on February 5th. The organizing concept for the protest popped up on Reddit in late January as a call for 50 protests in 50 states on one day. It was introduced by anonymous Redditor with the handle Evolved Fungi, which I'm going to get to, this person, who posted that 50501 was intended as a simple, self-replicating instruction set and something hashtagable that organizes everyone regardless of their state and location. So this viral organizing concept took off amid public revulsion against Trump and his billionaire Doge hatchet man, that lovely guy, Elon Musk, as well as frustration at the feckless opposition of the Democratic politicians. So under the 50501 banner, groups of activists self-organized demonstrations at state capitals and in big cities across the country, although it was little city where I went. Little city, everywhere. There were people out on the streets, and there's people out on the streets constantly now. You don't hear about all of this stuff, but there's constant, every weekend there's something. Every weekend. As the founding Redditor reflected, the idea of 50501 simply gave people permission to empower themselves at a time when everyone seemed to be struggling and asking, what can we do? But these protests, collectively dubbed the Decentralized Self-Organizing Community Action Event, turned out to be more than a one-off. The activists who mobilized for February 2nd, way back then, quickly found a groove and returned to the streets 2 weeks later with an even more vigorous No Kings protest on President's Day. So by early April, 50501 activists had become a driving force behind the national hands-off protests and in coalition with established groups like the ACLU, Indivisible, Move On, Color of Change, and the Women's March. Indivisible co-founder Ezra Levin touted to 50501 to Rolling Stone as very legitimate, organic, grassroots groups of folks with remarkable energy. So the snowball is still rolling, and it better. We have no choice, do we? If we could sit back and just watch it all happen. 50501 is organizing a new National Day of Action, combining protests and community building, which was last Saturday. The originator of 50501 remains a cipher. Now, this is kind of weird. We're going to go through that after this. Evolved Fungi did not respond to an interview request and remains anonymous. But in other Reddit posts, he's described himself as an engineer by day who also has a degree in marketing and a fascination with virality, calling himself just a normal guy who's a little bit autistic. The Redditor writes that he'd been kicking around the 50501 concept for about a decade, originally when trying to build momentum around a far more niche cause, opposing infant circumcision. I don't know. I didn't click on it. Evolved Fungi writes that he loves the hive intelligence of bees as well as the ways mushrooms can spread effortlessly via spores, but remain connected through a mycelial network. Think a root system, but for fungus. So 50501 is an idea that spreads like mushrooms, he's written. The idea can spread by telling friends about the IDEA. The IDEA idea can spread completely independent of any other person or group. So as 50501 has flourished, Evolve Funky has eschewed any formal role. I don't want to be the leader. I step back and I've done very little to direct people intentionally, he posted, so the people could do it. With that spirit of self-empowerment, 50501 has evolved into a loosely organized coalition with multiple grassroots groups and independent activist leaders operating under the same 50501 brand. There's no formal group, no 501c3 yet. Or 501c4 organization with board members or the ability to accept donations. Instead, several existing activist groups have stepped up to play support roles for grassroots activists, whether it's Political Revolution, which hosts an event finder for 50501 protests, or other nonprofits that offer activist training. Rolling Stone spoke with two representatives, Sarah Parker, 32, from Voices of Florida, and now mentors 50501, and then Hunter Dunn, a 22-year-old, soon-to-be political science graduate at Pepperdine, the national media liaison. Parker says her group got involved during the build-up to the original February 5th action by providing guidance to a flood of young activists leading the first protests, including strategies for conflict de-escalation. We're building the airplane while flying it, she says. It's amazing to see people building this amazing infrastructure. It's bottom up, not top down. So there's no barrier to entry. The network is not based on formal enrollment, rather mutual recognition and shared principles. If you're pro-democracy, if you're in favor of preserving the Constitution, if you're against executive overreach, and you're nonviolent, you are 50501. If you say you are, congratulations, you just got yourself involved. Dunn describes the many hubs or nodes of local 50501 activists as being informally united. Federated might be a good term, he says, invoking a concept from decentralized social media platforms where communication flows freely thanks to shared protocols, but no single entity is in charge. The people involved at the national level, Dunn says, think of themselves like a pantry, offering resources to support and sustain the local chapters. I've been part of multiple movements. Black Lives Matter, Occupy, Parker says, this is the first time I've seen what I'd call a living ecosystem. There are no leaders. We have different working groups. People are owning their lane, owning their state, owning their city. 50501 is still rooted on Reddit, which we are going to see, where it is subreddit. Our 50501 now counts nearly 280,000 members, but reach is amplified via Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and even Nextdoor, a site more notable for neighborhood snitching rather than community organizing. People are seeing what's happening in their country, and they want to take a stand too. We welcome them, even if they're next door, Dunn says with a laugh. 50501 activists communicate and coordinate through channels on the Discord platform, which I tried, and I couldn't seem to get in it. And we have a Discord, right? Which are grouped by state and city, as well as group chats on the encrypted communication app Signal. Same as Pete Hegseth. Grassroots activism can be messy and fractious. Rolling Stone observed that much of the chatter on the Portland, Oregon Discord channel was about the acrimonious departure of a splinter group. But the threat posed by this authoritarian administration is a greater unifying force. We are seeing Trump literally rip apart our Constitution with a stroke of his executive order, Parker says. 50501 represents pushback against executive overreach as well as pushback against Project 2025. This defense of democracy is resonating far outside of the big cities and reaching into rural towns. That's right, because I went and there were 220 people in a tiny, weeny little town. There were multiple locations in Wyoming where hundreds of people gathered on April 5th, said Dunn, referring to the hands-off protests. We're reaching every state in the country. Even in deeply red area, there are nodes. And Matt went to South Carolina to, I think it was Charleston. He went and filmed and asked people, how do you pronounce it? 50501 or 5051? And people answered. He did a good job. The April 19th day, that was last week. It was a community building. And she says past movements like Occupy fizzled out because they failed to organize for sustained action. That's what this is. I mean, this has got to be. We've got what? Almost 4 years left of this fucker. We can't let these things, we can't, we have to show our displeasure. There's millions of us. There are millions of us. And we'll talk, let me finish this. These people, there was no interconnectedness. It was just protest, 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 sleep outside. They weren't involved in the community. By contrast, 50501, we're putting roots down immediately. This is a marathon. Not only do we have 4 more years, like I just said, of that orange turd, but hopefully the movement will be around for 8 or 10 or 12 years as we continue to push forward for a more equal, equitable America. That's why 419 is happening, or happened last week, in order. And a lot of people went. But you just don't know because you don't see all this on the news. They're hiding it. Fox people don't see basically much of it at all. Anyway, it has to be. So you don't need permission. You just grab friends and neighbors and you go. You plan. You just say, let's go for it. So the strength is in empowering every individual to keep building. 50501 lives in every one of us. It's in our heart. It's in our energy. It's in the sad moments. It's in the angry moments. We are fighting against fascism. We're definitely David to Goliath in this fight, right? And David won. So look, that's why I'm doing the show tonight on this, because this is like the most important thing in my life. I've been around the block, around that sun, quite a while. And there are people of all ages that are showing up. Absolutely. So we're going to go to, I want to go to the next page. All right, we're going to talk about a couple of the pages. Hang on. Let me, I got to do something. I got to move this screen over. Sorry, I'm always notchy. I'm not perfect at this. So this is their Reddit page. This is where it all starts. And our 50501. But wait till you see. So this is the Reddit. I guess the main Reddit. Then they have a Facebook now. People, 53,000 people. How many people here? Okay. 296,000. So you all gotta join. Just remember, always be a little bit, careful of all these things that you do online. 50501, 158,000 on Blue Sky. That's pretty cool. And this is their website. Oh, here we go. Let me get your comment, Linda. I like it. And I know you want me to say Orange Turd Republicans. The idea is that this movement encompasses every issue: women's rights, Black Lives Matter, illegal deportations, the environment, everyone together. All of them intersect, and mass protest only succeeds with all. Thank you. Thank you. That was quite beautiful. Yep. We have to. I mean, I'm sorry. I don't care. As messed up as I am, I'm going to pull myself to something on Saturdays. We have to do this. It's going to be on the streets. I think we're going to have people on the streets all summer. All summer? How long? So find an event. This is their website. May 1st is Mobilize. It's a May Day. And there's groups all over. So that's their website. But I came on here because I want to show you the Reddit. Even though where is everybody tonight? Okay. I'm not talking about doom. I'm talking about our lives. For whatever you might think is coming. We want to go this way? We want to go this way? Yeah, I know, Susan. All right, Susan's saying, yep, that of course they're saying that. I've been on the right wing Have you heard Mustang protesters have nothing to protest about? That we're being paid to protest by dark money from the left. I know. I mean, it's ridiculous. You see, everything they say is an accusation, but they did get buses. They did do all that stuff. Although buses are not a bad thing. I took buses, I told you this a million times, from University of Buffalo to DC to protest Iraq twice. Iraq 1 and 2 is pathetic. All right. So here's the website. This is the Reddit. And then we're going to get into a little bit of the dirt. We need to talk about this. Look at all of the different ones. There's lots of them. Vermont, and I mean, this picked up like wildfire. Really wildfire. The crowd all over. Look, I'm going to keep going. Washington, North Carolina. How do you connect in Arizona? Some thoughts about the guy that started the movement. Well, we're going to talk about him. Vermont, Rochester. I mean, look, it just keeps going and going and going and going, every state. So if you don't get involved in this, I don't give a shit how doomed you think we are, or if you have tons of hopium, like everything will be okay. Well, it's not going to be okay if you don't get your ass out of your seat and out there. And it's okay. You meet people. It's not a bad thing. We just have to be very careful, and that's what I'm going to talk about. But look, it goes all over, all over. If there's enough people, they're not going to mass arrest if it's civil disobedience, peacefully, nonviolent, marching, talking. But what has to be done is these idiots in Congress have to do something. They're not doing anything. They're not doing a goddamn thing. It is government by executive order. And now today, a judge was arrested for actually doing her job, due process for an immigrant, and she was arrested. So we're going to have to follow these things. If you want to see this kind of life in the United States, you want to continue, you want to watch us go down the path even more than we already are, because in 90 days or 96 days, we have turned the corner. We have turned the tipping point. You know, the tipping points that we talk about in planetary boundaries. Well, we have crossed the tipping point in the United States where the Constitution, this is my pocket Constitution, right? The Constitution, they're shitting on it. They're shitting on the Constitution. And because they're shitting on the Constitution, we are basically fucked in a way if we don't do these things. If we don't do these things, it's got, I can't tell you enough. And you know, even old curmudgeons like Sam Mitchell from Collapse Chronicles, I'm going to drag him to something. I'm going to drag people that never even thought they would do something like this and ask people to go. Look, it just keeps going and going and going and going and going and going and going. Different states, everywhere. So if you don't think people are awake now and not woke and all that other bullshit, they are. We are. And I know I'm disabled. I know I have a lot of problems, but if I can make it, I'm going to make it. And I've met people now too, more people. Don't believe the algorithm. Show up. And then, has anybody heard of Indivisible? Well, we're going to look at Indivisible, because Indivisible is an organization that's actually very active around here, all over New York State. So, you know, I'm glad there's so many people here at the show tonight. Friday night, I have 34 people watching. Well, it's because I don't have a guest, because my guest didn't pan out. But it doesn't matter. I'm talking about all of the, look, just keeps going and going and going. Photos. We could look at photos. Maybe we'll come back. All right. I want to move over. And Nina, I see that you're here, Nina. We're not having the Peace Bridge Solidarity March tomorrow because Nate McMurray, who put it together, evidently, maybe there wasn't enough out there like this. See, that should have been advertised on the 50501 platform. So he's going to Canada to meet with people. Hopefully, we are going to have a really good march. So, solidarity. Now, if I had thought about this, which I didn't know, I just started learning about this. It's all brand new. I would have put that on here, and then we would have had a lot of people that would have showed excitement about coming to the Peace Bridge. But there's logistics, and there's a park by the Peace Bridge which goes to Canada, goes to Niagara Falls from Buffalo. I don't know if he had gotten a permit. I don't know if a permit's needed, but that's where Border Patrol is. You have to be really careful when you plan these things. So I suppose maybe he was erring on the side of caution to have a much bigger turnout. And I hope to tell him, listen, we got to use this 50501 platform. Look, I'm just keep going. Look, just everybody, all different 50501. So let's move on to some of the. This is the guy. I'm not going to read everything, but I want to talk about the drama because that's how you learn about these organizations. Now, he was upset. Now, this is 20 hours ago, so I guess all the shit started. He says he's saying that this is his final address as the original creator. First, my role as the top moderator position here on Reddit has always been as an overseer. So all this started on Reddit. Just, I'm sure that most of you that are with me understand that there is the Reddit collapse, which is the main hub for, I guess, the Doomosphere, although I don't post because I find that Reddit collapse kind of snobby. They are very strict in their rules, and I would rather go to the new one they made, Reddit Collapse with a Z, Collabs, where you don't have to feel like you're taking the goddamn whatever test, passing the bar to put a post up on Reddit Collapse. Anyway, he says he found out that there was a created 50501 nonprofit and they registered trademarks, which that's not what Rolling Stone said, but this is all brand new stuff. This is how movements do implode. And this is what have to be very careful. He said they weren't doing it to steal it, but to protect it. They seem to have intentions that aligned with the values of 50501 to keep it decentralized, to provide, now this is odd, legal protections for volunteers and provide financial transparency and oversight. Now, if they make this into a 501c3, that's it. This is another problem. This administration, ruling by executive order, is now going after or talking about going after 501c3s. They're talking about a lot of things. Maybe talk is cheap, but they've got the power and they're in power. And they have it all. And so that's why you see Congress and the Senate doing nothing. They're having stupid hearings. I mean, really idiotic hearings on nothing. I find that the right wing wastes a lot of money. They should have doged the meetings, found out what the hell they're having all these stupid meetings. All right. So anyway, the drama here. So here's the drama. He's saying that these nonprofits and these political action committees have been actively fundraising or accepting donations in the $10,000 range on behalf of 50501 through these without transparencies within the original 50501 community and the legal groundwork which was withheld from this person's knowledge. Now, I don't know all of the ins and outs, but there seems to be the prevailing feeling here that this is not something that should be happening, that it should be organic. And they're really, think about it, do they really need fundraising? And is it a group that's taking over for nefarious things? He said he'd been doxxed. Not his worst fear ever, but also found that there was a shadow business page that seemed to only be used for ownership of 50501 Facebook page. So this person that originally started it was saying that they trademarked it, and that might be what. And I don't know if it had that trademark, but see the five this? I don't know. This is what we're learning together. But that's why you have to be so careful. And that's why I really liked just hearing funding will be necessary, Linda, if arrests happen. I understand that, but that's not where maybe that wasn't the function of this group. That's the thing. There's other groups. We'll look at that. So this person, he says he got doxxed. Okay, that happens. And then Tuesday, the 22nd, they had through his own circle of counsel, lots of consideration, decided that a new nonprofit incorporation that could protect the organizers and participants of the events, as well as providing an open, transparent support structure for handling donation would be the best thing. But see, I don't know I hate that the thought that anything's going to be a 501c3 when it could all be just wiped away because nobody has a spine. We all have a spine. These people have spines. So they were talking there. Evidently now there's a trademark group. So it's becoming something. And people, I want to know and feel that this is with the best intentions, that this is not underhanded at all, because this is so sorely needed with the other groups to work together. It really is. And it has to stay nonviolent. It has to be nonviolent. We are not January 6ers. A lot of people say, oh, the only way we're going to be able to do this is if it's a violent insurrection. Okay. Will it come to an environment, a violent insurrection when they have the military? I don't know if that's really the way it should be. A violent insurrection. We saw how it didn't work January 6th. And I know historically we had what was it? The War of 1812. There's been a lot of violence and a lot of bloodshed. I'm just wondering, how can that happen? I mean, I did the show on the veterans, the bonus army that marched in D.C. in 1932 to get their bonus. They were starving. It was the Depression. And even then, Herbert Hoover called the military on them, burned down their encampments. It doesn't have to get that way. I think it's persistence. And if people are out on the streets and persistent in doing these things, there's a camaraderie, there is community, because it's happening here in my rural area. There's people that are connected every single day. Not even young people. There's all different people, which is what we have to do. I'm not rolling over here, especially when I tell you what happens with the EPA and how Doug Burgum signed the Interior Department over to Doge. Come on. This can't keep going on. I feel like like I say, I'm in the onion, opposite world, crazy world. It's like living in an alternative space. I feel like I'm in that, not so much the Twilight Zone and not maybe the Outer Limits. The Outer Limits. There's a good one. And it's free on YouTube. And if you want your mind to go places, get onto the Outer Limits. Sam told me about the Outer Limits. Yeah. All right. So anyway, here's the drama. All right. After lots of very fearful discussion, we realized something that we think is important, that is bigger than this. that is bigger than Reddit, that is bigger than any single one of us. And no one is ever going to be able to control this one massive, transformative, and revolutionary movement. We are all 50501, and we will not be silenced. I advise that future protests demand much, much more transparency from any of the PACs and nonprofits. And I feel like everyone connected to either a PAC or nonprofit should be welcome to help, but should not be accepting money or voting in the direction of the movement or having admin control of pages or social media related. They should have a seat at the table, but in advisory roles, not controlling. Okay? So this is what's happening behind the scenes. We show up, but there's organizations, and this is a brand new. I mean, I like what I hear about it. I do. I don't want to see it get spoiled. And I see they already have one in New York. I also see how Signal can come in handy, and so can Discord, because Reddit is completely right out here. So we'll see. I didn't get involved with the Signal yet. I can't do it all. All right. So then this person, I think this is the co-founder. And I'm going to go down. I've never, National Circle. See, they're talking about each other now. And this is another thing. I've never encountered such vile hive mind behavior as what I've seen in their national circle. It was like nothing I'd ever seen. I had never met someone as narcissistic and vengeful as the two at the top. So, trouble in paradise. This is why this kind of stuff has to stop. It has to stop. I believe in 50501. I believe people have the power to fight injustice and come together as a community to make something more beautiful and protect each other. But I refuse to be part of a mean girls club. The way they bully people is disheartening. That's not good. But again, I can't verify any of this. This is social fucking media. This is social media. All right? Let me move on. Now, so we went here, and I found one more that I thought was really interesting that could tell you the story and why we have to be on top of knowing who we are involved in. And if we get involved, trying to keep it clean and not the fundraising makes me uncomfortable. I understand Linda says there may have to be money for bail, attorneys, whatever. But if we keep it, and I know we cannot control the deep state. We cannot control the Orange Turd. We can't control local police. But so far, it's been amazing. Every state has reported no problems. Can't this keep going on? It gets bigger and bigger as it goes on. All right. So this is people just blabbing on Reddit talking about this whole thing, this whole thing, this person being upset. And I wanted to go down a little bit. I'm withholding judgment, says Practical River, for now, since this isn't the first subreddit. And see, all this, ooh, wait a minute. What are you saying, my friend? Okay. Wait a minute. Let me see. Oh, I got so many screens up. Not an insurrection, Sandy, revolution like the one in Russia where they wiped out the Romanovs. Yeah, back in the early 1900s. Oh, well, maybe that's what this is leading to, but I can't see. I don't know. I can't even prognosticate on what could happen in a revolution. Are we arming ourselves? That's another show. All right. So either way, it sounds like there's multiple issues involved. I'm wary of PACs and nonprofits getting involved in the way Fungi's comment describe it. Then again, we can't be sure Fungi's being objective or reliable. So everybody's right now in the questioning each other phase. It's in a new new organization, there's like, kind of like a bit of tussling, and you if you read Rolling Stone, it was glowing about the people that are involved, but then when you look at the nitty-gritty and you look at the drama, which I named it drama, right? And here we go. Here's somebody. I'm a member of that sub, and I have no idea how this drama was going on. Me neither. No, but anyway. So complete transparency you requested. Everything that's going on behind the scenes. Everyone is wondering what the fuck is going on. And in some ways, I'm wondering the same things. But here's what I do know. Now, this is a long piece. I don't know if you want me to read this whole thing, but I'm going to just say that there's some history here. The top moderator, these are the people that were involved in starting it, whatever. And they have somebody, there's now a trademark group. I was completely unaware of created 50501 nonprofit and also registered trademarks for it at all, with connections to the group commonly referred to as national. So somebody liked it. They seem to have intentions. I think I read this already, so I want to go down more. And I don't know about the fundraising. Let's go down to where I didn't read to you about this. And all right, so I kept conversations open with both sides, taking in everything and considering the movement and its future with the utmost respect for the gravity of the situation, which it is. I mean, we are in the Thelma and Louise moment of history for the United States. As it was suggested, we are democratically ran behind the scenes. We should vote on this idea. One problem I saw with the vote is that there were a lot of conflicts of interest involved by PACs and nonprofits. So the do-gooder people that want to help but are kind of maybe suffocating the original people that were in it. Again, it's all conjecture based on what I'm reading here. I know nothing. I'm just opening up your eyes to a situation. Know who you're getting involved with. And I mean, like I said, I like it. And I liked going to the hands up. I like all of it. I feel something about doing this kind of action when I can. And then they have some bullshit where he was sick and he had no shirt on during a Zoom call because he had a fever. It was stupid shit that these people were asking him to leave. Whether or not Fungi has emotional issues or issues, if he was the baseline person, he should have something. It says he's regretful of the whole shirtless thing or whatever happened. And there was another little he said, she said thing. And listen, I investigated sexual harassment and all the cases, all kinds of cases at my campus. And this didn't really look like it percolated, but this is just one person's view, percolated up to the level of sexual harassment when somebody's laying on a Zoom call or something and they move their junk. I mean, it was something stupid, but I don't know. Hey, somebody could come after me and say I've got it all wrong. Anyway, this person said, I'm forever regretful that it did happen as it led to the loss of an amazing friend and partner in 50501 since the second and third event we planned 9 years ago. So because it's growing, their relationship took a shit. That's what I'm seeing. The two people that started it, their relationship took a shit. Forgive my language. I am a very graphic person. That's how I'm describing it. And and it's becoming a bigger movement and more people. And so I guess they're getting squeezed out. However, this was used as another, we need you to step down right away. You need to make a post and step back. Well, call me naive, but neither of these things seemed like they were leaving the movement worthy. And it felt like people in the movement wanted my oversight out of the way. which was the intention of the conversation from beginning when it was just about being shirtless in February. Oh my God. Okay. So it goes on and on and on, and people were calling this person anti Semitic and misogynistic and all these accusations. And so it's obvious there was a big squeeze on. Hey, it could be very true. This fungi guy could be the freakiest weirdo. He could be all of those things. But somebody liked his movement and not bowel movement. Somebody liked the movement. So here we go. So I'm going down. The post was deleted, although I read it. And I read it. I wanted to know what this person was feeling. So I'm not reading it all. It's just too much. Really, the PACs and the NPs can be editors if that's decided on. So they're talking about there needs to be much more transparency from PACs and nonprofits. And I feel like everyone connected to either one of them should be welcome to help, but should not be accepting money or voting. So this is what we heard. So we don't, I'm interested in watching how this unfolds. The power play. I was a businesswoman. This is just little potatoes. They're just trying, but there are a lot of people involved. It could be hundreds of thousands in just the next few months once they find out about this and they decide to either get on the signal, they get in their state. Now here. So this is a person. This is the note. So we'll watch what's going on. Right? All right. There was one more thing I wanted to look at. A comment. Okay. This was a good comment, I thought. If you consider the 50501 movement as a creative process from the copyright, then the copyright is yours. I don't trust the board ideas the same way I don't trust Republicans. They use boards to manipulate everything. And I think the reason why they grab the copyright is because they want to confuse the movement. If they were honest, they would have handed over the copyright without hesitation. So here's where there's some things going on. A lot of stuff going on. And people really want to keep this to be a grassroots effort and keep it that way. Keep it that way. And they're saying, oh, they didn't read all of it. But there's a lot. There's a lot to read. That's why I'm doing this show. Because if you're going to go to the protest, you need to know. All right? They open the subreddit. Everything's back up. And hopefully, from what I'm reading here and all these different things, they're trying to work it out. I hope. All right. So this is too long. I'm not going there. And there was one more thing. A confused person. I have no idea what's real now. And this was evolved fungi. This was 20 hours ago. Another post was made, which is an accurate editing of my own message. And that's what I was just reading to you. One that I approved before it was posted. There have been an incredible amount of stress running this subreddit since the beginning. But the last 96 hours have been the most intense I've ever experienced. Because there's so many people involved now. That's why. I've been recently asked to add it back as a moderator and let everyone else go, and I'll take whatever consequences may happen. But that's not an option that the others are okay with. The threat seems real. It's impossible to know who to trust or what's true. See, I can feel some empathy for that person that started this, even though Rolling Stone, what did Rolling Stone say? Rolling Stone called this guy... let's find it. Yeah, as it flourished, evolved fungi has eschewed any formal role. I don't want to be the leader. I step back. I've done very little to direct people, so the people could do it. But they called him a name. They called him, the originator. They called him a cipher. He didn't respond. So obviously they really don't like the guy because of whatever things they deemed as not appropriate, didn't like infant circumcision. So what? There's a whole movement on that. A lot of people don't like that. There's a whole movement. So if that was that person's activism in the beginning, so what? You don't want to get your kid circumcised? There, you find people that are like-minded. That's how it works, guys. All right, so it's all insane. We have already accomplished amazing things. People have connections to other local people that they never had before. That networking is what it's all about. So let's keep it positive. I went into this with the best intentions. My only mistakes have been trusting people I thought were safe and trying to explain things that weren't issues in ways that made people think they were issues. And the people in positions that could have changed that perception loved the misperceptions because it served their purpose. So we are getting the inside look by what I dug up. And I mean, that's about it. That's what I'm seeing the story as, a new organization feeling its way through the power players and the originators, people, the originators are the people that got bought out for like no money. And then the corporation goes on to make billions and the people that sold it for $100,000 get fucked. I don't know. I mean, my analogy could be quite silly. So I'm just going to show you my New York, this is New York 50/50. So it's already, I don't even know, it was created February 11th and it's only got 2.4 thousand people so far. But they had a lot of pictures and I thought they were pretty cool to see these pictures. But that's about it. That's all I really wanted to talk about. So let's see what you guys are talking about. Oh, here, somebody said 11 hours ago, I came to fight against this administration through actions and messages of 50501. To see what's happened to it in a short amount of time is disheartening and disgusting. The battle continues, though. I, for one, will be sticking closer to my local indivisible chapter. I encourage all of you to continue to keep building your communities and network. So obviously, it hasn't gone unnoticed. This was Buffalo. I didn't go to Buffalo. I was in a little town not far from me. And I like the way they covered people's faces. But I was in Buffalo yesterday and I was right by where they were having the I was right downtown. So it was a rainy, crappy day, but I was very happy to hear about Buffalo. And I'm just wondering if I should say, I'm going to try something. I'm going to put your comments over here. I'm going to try something and see if I can find that stupid Matt Walsh video. It might be in my history. I have no idea what's in my history. Hang out. What's in my history? Probably a lot of stupid shit, but I want to find that. Oh, it was a million videos, but where was that? I don't know. Oh, here's Matt's. I wonder if you could hear it. System audio. Hang on. This was good. I'd like to play this. All right, hang on, guys. Hang on. I want to make sure you can hear this. And if I play this. All right. Can you hear it? I think Matt did a great job. It was really cute.
For the rally, it's 11:30 a.m. Rally starts.
You can hear this.
And I already see a
Hi, Matt. I'm almost done.
Unity. All right, y'all wait now.
Okay. So how do you pronounce it?
50-51.
So how do you say it?
I say 50-51.
So how do you say it?
I actually say it 5501.
So how do you say it?
50-51.
So how do you say it?
50-51.
How do you say it?
I say 50-51 for 50 states, 50 capitals, all on one day.
We are the Greenville Progressive Coalition. We have joined together to work to protect our democracy. Michelle of 50-51.
Yay!
Cindy of Indivisible. Joni of We the People Greenville.
That's great.
Evelyn of the Damn Women of Greenville. Our revolution is represented. Tell them Tuesday is represented, and Lee Turner is represented.
So how do
Yay!
I say it 50501.
you say? So how do you say?
5051.
Are you ready to fight? Because this is just not who we are. Thank you.
So how do you say?
I say 50-51. I don't know if that's correct, but that's how I say it.
So how do you say it?
I said it 5051.
That's cute.
So how do you say it?
50501.
So how do you say it?
50-51.
So how do you say it?
I think 50-51. I think it's 50-51. 50-51.
So how do you say it?
I say it 50-51. 50 states. 50 it's like
Protest.
protests and one cause.
Perfect.
No Trump, no KKK, no fascist USA. No Trump, no KKK, no fascist USA.
That was great
We're
in South
Unity Park in
Carolina.
Greenville, South Carolina.
All right.
For the
That was really great, wasn't that? It was really, really great to have Matt do that from South Carolina. So, and there was some more. And by the way, the letter hack is having his show, which is always the calming show after my show. So go over to the letter hack. Patchogue, Long Island. And now May Day is May 3rd. Well, there's one in Middletown, so we're showing the New York ones, but I'm sure there'll be something around me. So all of you think about that. You heard the drama, so it's a fledgling organization. As long as it doesn't get taken over by PAC money and by all this other bullshit, it could be all right. Because remember, there's still Indivisible, which is a huge organization. Indivisible and Move On. And I lost Our Revolution. What happened to Our Revolution? I want to show you Our Revo. Our Revolution's got a really good website. Our Revolution. Hang on. And I know Matt's going to start soon, but Our Revolution. Yeah, great site. So between 5051 and Indivisible, which is great organization, Move On, another one that's movers and shakers, and you know, Our Revolution is pretty terrific. Actually, they do a lot of activism, they do a lot of things, and I think you should check out their website. Okay, return investments. He gets hundreds of billions of dollars, so check them all out. Okay, make sure you do that. And I'm coming back to the regular page. All right. And we're going to get rid of this. And I'm going to come back and we're going to take your little comments. And then you're all going to go over to Matt's. You're all going to go over to Matt. So here we go. And I need my camera. And here we go. Okay, forgive me for being a little slow because I don't have the if I could show you, I don't have everything set up on my push buttons. I'm so lazy. I'm so bad. All right, I hope you learned something, and I hope you realize that we really have to be out there. We cannot afford to sit home. We cannot be in fear. And there's lots of organizations, and even in my little area, and if Matt could go and find people in South Carolina and all the red states, my gosh, it was huge. The day that they had it, it was gigantic in Montana. And then the town halls, you're seeing all these town halls where these red states, the constituents are angry. They're very upset. maybe the biggest thing for the orange turd, Republican orange turd, is that immigration, because these people are bloodthirsty, but when it's hitting their pocketbooks, that's when all the changes come in. So here we go. You love the anonymous mask? Do you use one? Do you have one? I literally have a gas mask downstairs. I got it for 2016 in Philly. Think me and Kia that I went with, we had absolutely no idea what we were going to come onto, and it was wonderful. I have to say, outside with all the people that we were with, it was just terrific. Fear and excitement, same basket. Okay, yeah, you got a point there. Fear and excitement. I don't have a lot of fear. I mean, of course, Ernie, you're such a sweetheart. We're fighting for you because we don't want any of this bullshit. The orange turd said it again yesterday about, he makes a joke. I called Trudeau the governor. But, you know, Carney's going to win, and he is way smarter. Oh, my God. I may not like everything, but that man is way smarter than he'll outsmart. I think he's got it. So, yeah, solidarity, baby. Only we can't do it tomorrow. Hey, you found the High Desert Cronies on the Blue Sky app, and some of them came to your rally because of your post. Okay, but now we know that anything that we have, we could put into something on 501. The 50501, and I'm going to make sure that Nate McMurray, who's doing the Canadian Solidarity Day, understands this is the way to do it. All right. We need to flush Kash Patel for arresting the judge. All right, we're going to, I didn't have a flush, and I didn't do a show. I didn't talk about that much, but that's another thing. That's why we have to be out on the streets. Who's going to do it? Who's going to do it if we don't? So we're going to flush that scumbag. Bye-bye, Kash Patel, you cross-eyed motherfucker. All right, yeah. More protest. Oh, he did? Okay. Well, listen, I've been impressed listening to him. And then listening to Orange Turd there's no comparison. Plus, I've learned he did an interview with Scott Galloway. I think the guy is. I never really was a big listener to Scott Galloway, but the interview was phenomenal with Carney. All of you need to learn about Canada, every bit about Canada. I'm every single morning with the True North Eager Beaver. You met Douglas. I had him on the show. So yeah. All right. Yeah, I'm right. We have to be aware of our surroundings. Oh my God, I hope so. Pierre Poilievre. You know, here's one thing about Pierre Poilievre. He has an airplane that says Pierre Poilievre, okay? But Carney, Mr. Carney, he's got an airplane that says Liberal Party, not his name. What does that tell you, right? And Maple MAGA, I guess it's Maple MAGA. I think it would be really detrimental if Maple MAGA won Canada right now. This is the most important time in a lot of history for Canada. It is. And they need someone who understands business and economics, even though business and economics is business as usual, and it's where it got us with our climate crisis. Carney is the man for the moment, in my opinion. I like Jaguar. I like the Green Party up there, but this is not normal time. And you don't want Timbit Trump in charge of our country. No, Linda, you don't. Absolutely. I just love the Canadians, and I'm so upset. And Linda, I'm so glad you're with us now on Friday nights. It makes me really happy. You're waiting for a flush? I did a flush. Okay, I'm going to flush away Pierre Poilievre. Bye-bye, Pierre. Yeah. All right. So that's how I feel. That's how I feel. Deep dive. The making of Pierre Poilievre Forward Canada. Okay. This is good. All right. Hey, Rod. Yeah. Listen. If it gets really bad in the United States, maybe Carney will take people like me as refugees, even though I'm old and I need help. I need Medicare. And I need good health, and I'll go live up in the country near Ernie's cabin. I'm going to go live near Ernie. That'll be great. So, yeah, I am disappointed that we're not having that. All right, I'm going to let you guys go because Matt's got his show, and we flow very easily into each other's shows, which is great. I'm grateful. You know, they're not doomers. I'm a doomer. But I am a proactive, demonstrating, protesting, activist. I'm busy contacting the assemblyman about the Great Lakes bill. I've been busy and trying to do my outside, and also, yeah, one woman. Oh, God. All right, guys. I love you all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for coming. And I'll see you. I don't know if Sunday's beautiful out. It could be a planting day where I can make a video. Yeah. And I had one thing I did yesterday is I did a mall walk in a dead mall. And we're going to talk about that too. So, yeah. And I had a lovely dinner with my daughter yesterday. So that was nice. Yeah. Okay, guys. Peace out. Woo! I love you. La, da, da, da.